Epictetus is one of the most influential Stoic philosophers in history. In this video, I will tell you about his life story, philosophy, and how his teachings can help us live better today. Let's begin. Epictetus was born around 50 AD in Hierapolis, a city in Phrygia, now part of Turkey. He was a slave in the household of Epictetus, a wealthy and powerful freedman who had served as a secretary to the Emperor Nero. Epictetus had a passion for philosophy and was allowed by his master to study under Musonius Rufus, a famous Stoic teacher. Epictetus became disabled at some point in his life, either due to an accident or a deliberate act of cruelty by his master. He later gained his freedom and moved to Rome, where he started teaching philosophy. However, in 93 AD, the Emperor Domitian banished all philosophers from Rome, fearing they might threaten his authority. Epictetus fled to Nicopolis, a city in Greece, where he founded his own school of philosophy and attracted many students and admirers. He never wrote anything, but his lectures were recorded and published by one of his students, Arrian, who later became a famous historian. Arrian's works, the Discourses, and the Enchiridion or the Manual, are the primary sources of Epictetus' philosophy. Epictetus died around 135 AD, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom and inspiration for generations to come. His philosophy was based on the principles of Stoicism, a school of thought that originated in Athens in the 3rd century BC by Zeno of Citium. Stoicism taught that the goal of life is to achieve eudaimonia, which means happiness or well-being, by living in harmony with nature and reason. Stoics believed that everything in the universe is governed by a rational and providential force called logos, which can be identified with God or nature. They also believed that human beings have a spark of logos within them, which gives them the ability to reason and to act virtuously. Stoics divided things into two categories: things that are under our control and things that are not. The only things that are under our control are our own judgments, opinions, desires, and actions. Everything else, such as our health, wealth, reputation, and external events, are not under our control and are subject to fate or fortune. Therefore, the Stoics advised us to focus on what we can control and to accept what we cannot control with calmness and indifference. Doing so, we can avoid being disturbed by our emotions, such as anger, fear, grief, or envy, and achieve a state of inner peace and freedom. Epictetus emphasized the importance of applying Stoic principles to everyday life rather than just studying them theoretically. He taught his students how to deal with various situations and challenges they might encounter in their personal and social lives, such as poverty, illness, death, loss, injustice, or oppression. He also taught them how to cultivate good habits and virtues, such as wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control, and avoid bad habits and vices, such as ignorance, injustice, cowardice, and intemperance. He used many examples and anecdotes from his own experience as a former slave and a disabled person to illustrate his points and inspire his listeners. One of the most famous teachings of Epictetus is the dichotomy of control, which he expressed in the first sentence of the Enchiridion: some things are up to us, and some are not up to us. He explained that we should always distinguish between what depends on us and what does not depend on us and act accordingly. For example, if we want to travel somewhere, we should do our best to prepare for the journey. But we should also be prepared for the possibility that something might prevent us from reaching our destination, such as bad weather or an accident. In that case, we should not complain or be frustrated, but rather accept the situation as it is and adapt to it. Epictetus said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then you will be happy." Another famous teaching of Epictetus is the role of prohairesis, which means choice or will. He said that prohairesis is the most important faculty we have as human beings because it allows us to use our reason and act according to our nature. He noted that prohairesis is the only thing that can make us free or enslaved, happy or miserable. He said, "Remember that you are an actor in a drama of such sort as the author chooses. If short, then in a short one. If long, then in a long one. If he wants you to play the part of a beggar, play it well, and so also for the parts of a disabled person, an administrator, or a private individual. For this is your business, to play well the part you are given, but choosing it belongs to another." He also said, "No one is master of another's prohairesis, and in this alone lies good and evil. Nobody can make me good or bad but myself." Epictetus also taught his students how to practice the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. He said wisdom is the knowledge of what is good and evil, what is in our power and what is not, and how to act accordingly. He said that justice is the ability to treat others fairly and kindly, according to their nature and role. He said that courage is the ability to face difficulties and dangers without fear or hesitation, but with rationality and dignity. He said self-control is the ability to restrain our impulses and desires and act moderately and temperately in all situations. He said these virtues are interrelated and inseparable and form the basis of a happy and honorable life. Epictetus also gave his students many practical advice on how to live according to Stoic principles in various domains of life, such as family, friendship, work, politics, religion, and death. He taught them how to be good parents, children, spouses, friends, citizens, and leaders. He taught them how to work diligently and honestly without being attached to the results or the rewards. He taught them how to participate in public affairs without being corrupted or compromised by power or fame. He taught them how to worship God or nature without superstition or fanaticism. He taught them how to face death calmly and confidently as a natural and inevitable part of life. Epictetus' philosophy has influenced many people throughout history, from ancient Roman emperors like Marcus Aurelius to modern thinkers like Albert Ellis and Viktor Frankl. His teachings can help us today to cope with the challenges and uncertainties of our complex and chaotic world by reminding us of what we can control and what we cannot, encouraging us to act virtuously and rationally in all circumstances, and by inspiring us to live with dignity and joy. I hope you enjoyed learning about Epictetus' life story, philosophy, and how his teachings can help us live better today. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Philanthropia for more videos on philosophy and wisdom.